Yes, come in, please. Good morning, sir. Yes, good morning. Please take your seat. Okay, I am Mr. Amit Dekar, your English teacher. Could you introduce yourself, please? Unit A.
My name is Ablash and I study in standard 10 and I study in St. John's School and I am 16 years old and I live in Rajwati area in Kanpur.
Okay, Unit B. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Sir, I'm Vijay Singh. I'm from class 10th and I study in St. John's School and I live in Sarmachal Talcher and my aim is to be an animated.
All right. So now we are going to have the topic presentation. This is your second stage of your speaking assessment. All right. So now, when candidate A is speaking about this topic, candidate B has to listen carefully and ask a question. Okay. The same way, when candidate B is speaking about this topic, candidate A has to listen carefully and ask a question. All right. So now it is time for candidate A. Please, start.
Thanks sir for giving me this opportunity to tell something about the beautiful poem that is The Dust of Snow. The Dust of Snow is a beautiful poem that explains how nature helps us to understand the values of life, how nature tells us never to lose hope in life. The poet remembers a small incident that changed his mood. Once the poet was standing under a hemlock tree. He was in a very depressed, sad, and hopeless mood. Suddenly, a crow sitting on the tree shook its branches and some powdery snow fell on the poet. The powdery snow which fell on the poet changed the poet's mood to happiness. Earlier, he had spent a part of his day in sadness and depression. But this small incident which happened changed the poet's mood and now he starts feeling refreshed. The central idea of this poem is that the significance of the small things in life, the significance of small things in changing one's mood. The message that we get from this poem is that never to lose hope and hope for the best even in the worst of situations. And we must conclude that nature and its objects have the ability to change one's mood, make one happy, and come out of hopelessness.
Okay, candidate A. There are so many points are there in your book. You might have studied already. And why did you select this particular point for your speaking assessment? What inspired you to take this point?
Sir, I am a nature lover, and Robert Frost, who is the poet of the this poem, is known for his marvelous works, and he has written many poems that are based on nature and awarded many times because his short and simple poems convey deep messages that inspire people throughout the world, and this poem also inspired me a lot.
All right, good. So, candidate B, could you ask me a question, please?
As you said that nature will change the mood of someone. Is it true or is it just a fiction?
No, it's not actually a fiction. It is really true because we can see many examples in our life. Small things can even change our mood. Like something wrong has happened with us, and whenever you come home at night and have dinner with your family, this small thing changes your mood. You are now happy. So then, in this way, we can conclude that this is not a fiction. This is real.
All right, now it is time for candidate B. Please, could you start?
First of all, thank you for giving this opportunity. I'm here to speak about communism. You can understand communism as an ideology. And if you ask someone looking like us, he will say that it's just a nine-letter word. But if you ask someone from the 1950s or 60s, he would rather suggest it as a big disaster. He would even say that it could have been the reason for the Third World War. So, before I go further, let me just give you a perspective of my speech that by giving the definition of this communism. You can say communism as an ideology that I already said, and an ideology never have a proper definition because it's what people accept, and people accept it as what they wanted to be. But communism was so widespread and popular that it started to gain a common definition. It goes like one has to work according to his ability and would get according to his need. You can call it as a society where no one would live a life of money and no one live in hierarchy. It's a society where there is no discrimination, no racism, no gender, no caste, no nothing. But it looks like a good idea to be in one. So we never see the communist society in today's world. Like China is a society of communism, but people doesn't accept it as a global power, even though it has a lot of resources. So, what are the reasons for this? The first of all, the biggest reason for this downfall of this communism is in its definition itself. Uh, Communism stands for one has to work according to his ability. So let's take an example. As you are in a communist society, let's take this communist society as India, and you are working in this society and you work an amount of work in a particular day and get a particular amount of food or other resources. A man who is physically disabled, he works too, but does a less amount, less work than you do, but still get the same amount of resources as you get. So it is not equal in many aspects. Mm, at last, I would say that communism is a good society and could be in our modern India.
Okay, can you tell me why did you select this topic for your speaking assessment? What inspired you to do this topic?
Biggest reason I selected this is because of China. Nowadays, India and China is in very big diplomatic war, and I want to let people know that what China is all about.
Okay, and A, could you ask the question, please?
As you said that communism is a good ideology, can you really say that in a society where uniform type of people are living, is democracy not better than communism?
Yeah, I would of course say that communism is better for a uniform society. You can accept democracy in a widespread society like our India, like we have a diverse population. So communism is good for uniform culture, and democracy is good for diverse culture.
Alright, so now we are in the first stage, that is the problem solving. Okay, I will giving you the problem and both we have to solve this problem and you have to find the solution of this problem. Alright, so this is your problem.
Some of your classmates don't behave well with the girls. They pass comments, sing songs, and tease them, which make them uncomfortable in the classroom and create disturbance in their studies. So, what do you say about?
I think first of all we should try to understand the situation. On the contrary, this may be the situation that the girl who is being teased is not actually the victim, or she is putting the blame on others.
Alright, so can you tell me, did you get the solution of this problem?
Yes,
What is the problem?
So I would first of all understand the situation, that who is wrong and who is correct. If whoever is wrong in this situation, I would ask principal to give whatever punishment he requires.
Alright, this is the solution of this problem. So, candidate A, do you agree with this solution?
yes, I
Why?
definitely agree with this solution because, like Stephen Dunn once used to say, that you cannot make a mistake twice because the second time you make it, it's not a mistake, it's a choice. So, first of all, we should make the students who are doing so understand their mistakes, as this is not too big case that cannot be handled by the other students present in the class not involved in this stuff. So, we should try to make the girls feel comfortable and help them to focus in their studies. And if they by choice they are repeating the same mistake again, then we should hand over them to principal and teacher, and they should do whatever is expected from them. May this be a punishment or a lesson.
Okay, very good. So, your speaking assessment gets over here. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you.